We're in Shmuel Aleph, Perek Chaf, Pasuk Gimel. After David ran away from Nayos, Yonasan catches up with him. He says to Yonasan, "What have I done? What's been my sin? Why does your father want to kill me?" And Yonasan says, "No, he doesn't want to kill you. He tells me everything that's going on, so why would he hide anything from me?" So, Pasuk Gimel, these are all pretty hard psukim, and to get precise translations of every word, it's not easy. So we're going to give you pretty much a running commentary throughout these psukim to get the main ideas, and we should, God willing, cover a lot of ground over here. I don't recall if we did the Radak on Psukim Beis and Gimel. So if we did them, it's a review. If not, it'll be new. The Radak asks, how could Yonasan be so sure that Shul didn't hate David? How could he say that? How could he say he doesn't reveal things to me? He himself is seeing how he's trying to kill him. So how could he say, what do you mean? He tells me everything that's on his mind. I know what's really in his heart. And he doesn't want to kill you. So how can he say that? So the Radak says that, well, once his father made an oath by Hashem's name, he's not going to violate his oath. He already made an oath in the last parak with David, and so I'm not gonna ever hurt you. He tried to kill him by throwing the spear at him after the oath, and he sent messengers to bring him to kill him, and then he went after him in Nayos to kill him. He says, so Yonasan thought that was because that Ruach Ra, that was because that bad spirit that was scaring him into that, to want to kill him while he had the Ruach Ra. It was because he had the bad spirit, that's why he wanted to kill him. But that bad spirit only came at times. And therefore we never found him really wanting to kill him after he made the oath, except when he had the Ruach Ra. Every time it says he had the Ruach Ra, he had the bad spirit, then he wanted to kill him. Therefore Yonasan could promise him that he could help protect him during those times of Ruach Ra. But you see, and he's saying even even when David's playing, it can't calm him down all the time. But still, you could be careful not to be in those types of situations. So that's what he thought. However, Radak says the truth was that in Shul's heart he wanted to kill him, even when it wasn't during the Ruach Ra. However, he never led on and showed that way because of the oath that he made to Yonasan, or he didn't want to make Yonasan unhappy, as David will tell him in a minute. And it was told to David through Shul's servants who liked David that he was really wanting to kill him. So because Shul would reveal to his servants his truest feelings, even that which he was not revealing to Yonasan. And therefore, you'll see David gives a very strong response to Yonasan now, which is a very strong response, and that's what we're going to start in Pasuk Gimel. Vayishava od David, and David makes another oath. So now you got to figure where was the first oath. So that's a little bit interesting, because you don't find it. I mean, maybe way back an oath of friendship, but this Yishava Od, commentators do not pick up on this at all. And you'll see what is exactly the oath is also not easy to understand. You'll see. Vayomer, and he says, Yodoa Yeda Avicha Ki Matzasi Chen Beinecha. Your father knows that I have found favor in your eyes. So of course he's not going to tell you his real feelings. Vayomer, and he says to himself, Al Yeda Zos Yonasan. This should not be known to Yonasan, my truest intentions. Pen Yeh safe, lest he will be saddened. Now, Now here comes the oath, Ulam, but Chai Hashem, by Hashem's life, V'chei nafshecha, and by the life of your soul, Ki kefesa beini uvein amaves. It was only a fesa between me and between death. Meaning, say, when he threw that spear at me, that was a sign that he really wanted to kill me. And it was like I was like from pes. It's not pronounced pesha, but pesa. And pesa from the word psia, step. I was a step away from death. That's the biggest proof I need. I was a step away from death. And had I not run out of that place, I would have been dead. So, Yonasan, as much as you think that he really likes me, he wants to kill me, and he's all fooling you from this. And what's the oath exactly? I swear that he does want to kill me. I don't understand why you need an oath for that. I have no idea, and I don't know anything.
Invoke Hashem's name.
Yeah, but why do you have to invoke Hashem's name? He's so clear.
That's why.
He's so clear. I mean, what are you missing around Hashem in this? I really don't understand, and I don't know anybody of the regular commentaries who, I mean, as it is, it's like a bit of a break in between the oath. Beginning it's Vayishav Ha'od David, and then the real oath comes at the end of the pasuk, Chai Hashem, V'chei nafshecha. But I don't really understand why he had to make an oath. Anyway, pasuk Dalet. Vayomer Yonasan al David. Yonasan said to David, Ma tomer nafshecha v'esalach. What do you want? Tell me what your soul says, and I'll do it. What is it I could do? Pasuk Hey. Vayomer David al Yonasan, Hinei chodesh machor. Tomorrow is going to be Rosh Chodesh. V'anochi yashov eshev im hamelech lechol. And tomorrow, it's the customary time for me to be sitting at a meal next to the king. We'll see later on, it appears from the text, that David was the one who was sitting right next to Shul, at the head of the table. And that's the usual procedure. It's interesting, after all what's been going on, David's backed by the palace, you see. He's backed by the palace. Again, we're hoping maybe that things will improve from this prophecy that Shul had, and that it is Rosh Chodesh. But anyway, but he ain't going to be foolish enough to stay in the palace. Vishilachtani, I want you to send me away. Give me permission to not be at that monthly gathering. V'nistarti basadeh ad ha'erev hashishis, and I will hide in the field until the third day. In other words, today is Erev Rosh Chodesh, tomorrow will be Rosh Chodesh, and then there'll be another day after Rosh Chodesh, and then the day after that, and we'll see why.
He's asking Jonathan?
He's saying to Yonasan, we're not finished yet with his request yet, but he's saying, I usually am there on Rosh Chodesh. That's what usually, Anochi Yashov Eshev. In other words, I usually am there, and frankly, I would like to, but I'm not going to, and if I don't, I'm going to get in big trouble. If you don't show up to these meals, that's like showing a sign of disrespect to the king, which is punishable by death. So therefore he's saying, I want you to give me permission that I don't have to go, and we'll see why, what the excuse is going to be. And I'll hide in the field until the end of the third day, because, he may not, we'll have to see what Shul's reaction is going to be by me not being there. And he may not say anything the first day. One day is not the end of the world. But if I'm not there the second day, that's going to push the envelope, and it's going to make it, some kind of reaction is going to come out. So let's see what this reaction is, the reaction he's looking for. In other words, we're trying to make a true test. There seems to be a dispute between David and Yonasan as to, how sick or angry David is, and what his true Shul is. So what his true intentions are. So this way we'll be able to determine what his true intentions are. And this is the following, Pasuk Vav. Im pakod yivkadeni avicha. If your father is going to make an account of me and see that I'm not there, and he's going to ask people, he's going to ask, what's going on. So Marta, and he's going to say, where's David? If he's going to bring up the topic, he's going to say, where's David? Vamarti, and you will say, Nishol nishal mimeni David larutz beis lechem. David asked from me to run to Beis Lechem, his city, his hometown, ki zevach hayomim sham, because it's a yearly offering that they give, l'chol mishpachah, for a family. It's a family simcha, and he asked me for a special permission to not be here. This way, David won't be considered a rebel, because he asked Yonasan, it's the king's son, so that's like asking the king, as it were. Malbim says the double expression. He asked through relatives, and he didn't ask the king because he was in a big hurry. He had a rush. It was late, and it's a yearly offering, and it's for the whole family, and therefore he wanted to go. So that's a reasonable excuse. That's what you'll tell him. Now the point is, let's see what the reaction is. So this is very interesting. There's 4 possible reactions. Only 2 will give us a definite understanding, and 2 will still leave things in the doubt. This is the way the Malbim explains. Im ko yomar, if he says like this, Tov, that's good. That's good, that's fine, it's no problem. Then we'll know, this is the way the Malbim learns it, Shalom lavdecha, it'll be peace upon your servant. That means he really doesn't hate me. But if he gets angry, we now know, the anger is finished from me. In other words, he wants to kill me. Now, the Malbim, we'll just elaborate a little bit. He says, you see, there's 2 conditions. If he says tov, if he says good, or if he gets angry. Now, there are another two possibilities in terms of response or lack of response. Another one is, he may not ask anything. It's possible he may not ask anything. And he may ask, another possibility, he may ask, and he doesn't say good, and he doesn't get angry. So there's 4 possibilities here. So therefore, he's only picking the 2 sides that we can understand clearly if it's good or bad. First of all, he's got to ask. Right? So, there's got to be some interest there, or he wants to kill him. So if he says good, then fine, and if he says bad, then it's also, we understand what's going on. But if he really doesn't like him and he really doesn't want to kill him, he may not ask, he may not be upset. So it's not 100% foolproof test. There will be situations in which we will not be able to know what the exact truth is, but that'll be the way that we will know. Okay, anyway, before we move on, there is something from Rabbi Michalowicz that's quite interesting, that has to do with this concept of Rosh Chodesh. Now, it's interesting, generally speaking, you don't find the topic of Rosh Chodesh, besides the fact that it is in the Moadim, that it's in the holidays. We mentioned briefly Rosh Chodesh, and we lay it on Rosh Chodesh. There's a few psukim there with Rosh Chodesh. There doesn't seem to ever be a story in the Torah dealing with Rosh Chodesh, except for this one. It's the only place in the Tanakh where there is an event centered around Rosh Chodesh. You won't find it anywhere else. You'll find a slight reference, I believe it was with Elisha, where the Shunamis tells the husband she's going to go to the prophet, and he's saying, what's going on? This isn't Shabbos, this isn't Rosh Chodesh, this isn't a holiday, but if I'm not mistaken. But there's no direct story that revolves around Rosh Chodesh. So this is something to reckon with. So Reb Tzadok, in his Sefer Resisei Loila, in Sif Ches, he talks about this. So at least we'll hear what the message of Rosh Chodesh over here. He says a fascinating idea about Rosh Chodesh. He says generally when we celebrate, and Rosh Chodesh has had a very unusual history, and it has an unusual present. Rosh Chodesh, you don't say the full Hallel. Rosh Chodesh is supposed to be a holiday, isn't a holiday. It's a woman's holiday. Like what's going on over? Originally, the Fortune tells us there's supposed to be, just like we have 3 major holidays for the 3 patriarchs, there's supposed to be 12 more holidays for the 12 tribes, for Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh was meant to be a genuine holiday. If it's in the Moadim, it's supposed to be a holiday, and in many ways a very, very strong holiday, not just a minor holiday. But because of the sin of the golden calf, Jewish people lost it, and now it's gone. The luster of it is gone, and only women celebrate to some extent in a minor way. So what's the point? So he says that you have what happens with holidays? Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot. Those are holidays that really occur because of an event that happened, which is significant and indicative of the spiritual energy that exists at that time. So Pesach is a holiday that we celebrate, that we really connect to, because the 15th of Nisan is a day that Hashem sends energies of freedom into the world. And the biggest proof that he sends freedom into the world is the Jews became free on Pesach, which is the biggest significant single act of people becoming free. And now everyone can relate to that holiday, that every Pesach we know we can access energies of freedom that come on this holiday. The same for Shavuos. You get the Torah again. Same for Sukkot. That's what normal holidays are. We can all celebrate those holidays regardless of how non-spiritual we may or may not be. Now what he said, I'll read just a few lines over here. He says, Ki yesh roshem l'mafreho. There's something, and really these holidays make a roshem, make a mark on us, make an impact on us. But he says there's something called a roshem l'mafreho, a retroactive roshem, a retroactive mark, an impact. In other words, there's something about Rosh Chodesh. What he's basically going to say is that the real miraculous nature, the outstanding nature of Rosh Chodesh has never yet been revealed. It is only going to be revealed when Mashiach comes. That's when we're going to finally know what Rosh Chodesh is all about. The intense power of Rosh Chodesh, even though you kind of have an idea what it is when you daven the Musaf, because it's called Yom Kapara. It's L'chol Toldosam. It's a day of atonement for all the sins. It's a great day of atonement, but it's just we haven't really seen it. But that's what it really can bring out. That will only really be understood when Mashiach comes, because when that comes, then the whole world's going to do tshuva. That's going to be another fantastic moment in Jewish history. And when all the Jews want Mashiach, when everyone's doing tshuva, the whole world is filled with intellect. That's going to be the unbelievable tshuva is going to happen. But it hasn't happened yet. So this is called a roshem l'mafreya, a mark, an impact, retroactively. But he's saying, but that roshem is not mitzad hiskalus, that it's been revealed already. Sher benigla, because then if something's revealed, then you have free will choice if you want to have it or not. But and then something can make an impact on you. Making an impact, has to happen. He says, "Vein shach roishim koydem ma'isa." You can't make something called an impact before the action happens. Person may not want it, whatever. It's not. But he says, but zeh inyan kiddush Rosh Chodesh. This is the concept of the holiness of Rosh Chodesh. So nisker v'torah klal. It's not mentioned Torah at all. There's been no revelation of the Shekhinah on Rosh Chodesh in the past. Rak la'asid. Only the future, when it says, the Navi says, there'll be a time when from Rosh Chodesh to Rosh Chodesh and from Shabbos to Shabbos we'll be able to understand it. He says, then it's going to be really revealed. Everyone will see what Rosh Chodesh is. Because we're told that there will be a shir chadash, there will be a new song. We say this in the Haggadah, at the end of the Haggadah. We say there's going to be a new song, and every moment there's going to be a shir chadash. There's going to be a new song, because that's what's going to happen when we come to this newer level of understanding of Hashem. Because right now we're kind of limited in understanding. He says there'll be added understandings of Hashem at all time. That's why the Chodesh, renewed understanding. When our minds are so expanded, we can get closer and closer and closer to Hashem to no end. In this world, there's limitations as to what, how far we can go in understanding Hashem. But when we come to the next world, there'll be no limitations. And that's what he also says, is the idea of Shira. The only can sing is when you recognize certain realities that you didn't recognize before. We have that, on occasion, on rare occasions, you get a spurt of the Shiras Hayam, Shiras Tvora. It's just a spurt. But the real future, where it's going to be constant state of Shira, because when you a constant renewal of the human being's understanding of Hashem's greatness, that's for later on. And that's what's going to be called a Shir Chadash. Shir Chadash meaning not just a new song, as a Shir Chadash, but Shir Chadash meaning an eternally developing new song. A never-ending song that is always new. That is the kind of song when Mashiach comes. Now, he says, and it says in your Rosh Chodesh. That's the idea of Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh means there'll be a time that there always will be a Shir Chadash. The song will just constantly renew itself. The understandings of Hashem will deepen every moment of our existence.
We see that for Shabbos too?
What?
We see that for Shabbos too?
Where do we see this?
Don't we say that for Shabbos too?
Shabbos are renewal.
Yeah, okay, so Shabbos you've seen a bit already. Shabbos is already in the past. We've already seen what Shabbos. Hashem made the first Shabbos. But to that extent, we don't fully appreciate the Shabbos either. But Shabbos, we've seen it. The mun did not come down on Shabbos. We've seen things about Shabbos. We've seen some, not fully, but a lot. So therefore, he's saying, and that's why the Zohar mentions as well, this is a remez, the Rosh Chodesh, a remez to Jewish people. That's why we make Kiddush Levana. We say that Jewish people, that they also will become new, like the moon. And this is where we start mentioning David HaMelech. We mentioned David HaMelech as well over here. He's connected, and in the prayers of Kiddush Levana, we have David Melech, Yisrael, Chai V'Kayam. And therefore he says, L'chei nizkar inyan Kiddush HaChodesh because of rak binyan David HaMelech im Shul. We only find the only mention of Rosh Chodesh regarding David HaMelech and Shul. Why? Umishom l'meid in Sudas Rosh Chodesh. And therefore, and we also know parenthetically the law of making a suit on Rosh Chodesh. Even though we don't derive laws from the Navi, but if the Navi tells us what they were doing, as testimony as to what happened, that we would derive. So you see, there was a special occasion to make a special meal. And why? Does nischadish hiskalas orze be'es hascholas binyan hamalchus Yisrael b'chal u'malchus b'zel b'frat? Because the revelation was in David's time is beginning to become revealed. It's the beginning of the kingdom of Israel in general, and specifically the kingdom of David specifically. He says, "Shezeo hascholas hiskalas rishimas ordelosim." It's the beginning of the steps that are bringing that mark for the future. Okay, so and that's where you see some talk about this. That David he's also the one who sings. He's the sweet singer of Israel. He's the one who made Tehillim. It's just the beginning to appreciate this idea. And of course, Tshuva is a big aspect of Rosh Chodesh, and David HaMelech is a big tzaddik who taught us all about Tshuva, the Tshuva that he does. So he fits into this a lot. And therefore, it says in the Medrash, he says now, Niten b'lamazel l'nashim. The Rosh Chodesh has been given to women, b'schar so also ego, for the merit that they did not sin in the golden calf. He says, Ki lulei oise maisa, had it not been for the sin of the golden calf, hakvar cherus mimalchius miyetzahara kamolasi, there would be freedom from governments, freedom from the Yetzirah, as will be in the future. And we would have merited that futuristic holiness then, when we came out of Mitzrayim shortly after getting the Torah. So since the women had nothing to do with that activity, masigim rishima zo yoser, they're able to comprehend this roshem, this mark, this futuristic mark better. In other words, the ability to celebrate Rosh Chodesh is dependent on one's ability to appreciate the sanctity of of this period of time, even though there hasn't been any tangible manifestation of it in a way that everybody could feel it already. And that's what makes Rosh Chodesh the Roshem L'Mafreya, the retroactive. In other words, it's in there. It's in Rosh Chodesh. Hashem made Rosh Chodesh that way. However, it never manifested itself yet. That's only something that's going to be in the future. And therefore, it's easier to appreciate a day in the calendar that's special if there's already been an event. It makes it easier if I say, just like Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, we can always say it. Everyone's in their own personal Mitzrayim, and you can get out of your own Mitzrayim. Just like Hashem gave us the Torah, He's going to give us the Torah every year anew. And had Hashem not given us the Torah, had He not made Pesach, all those energies would still be there. That mark is still there. The impression is still there, but it's hard to have make an impression on you if you don't have any evidence to it, and you have nothing to wrap your head around it. So, okay, I understand. Jews got freedom. I got it. Jews got Torah. I got it. So you're telling me I'm supposed to have it too? Okay, I have to stretch myself, but if it happened once, you're telling me it's happening again. Okay, I can deal with that. But if you're being told there's something very special about Rosh Chodesh, and it has something to do with Tshuva, but we haven't really seen anything on Rosh Chodesh about Tshuva, so it's very hard for that impression for us to be impressed by that impression. So that's the difference between men and women. Men are more, focused more on what you see, what's out there, and women can focus more on what's not out there, what's beneath the surface. This Rosh Chodesh is the holiday of beneath the surface. It's beneath the surface. So therefore, since women didn't sin with the golden calf, so they obviously are spiritually more attuned to what the spiritual benefits would have been had there not been the golden calf, which would have come from Rosh Chodesh. That's what would have happened. So therefore, women still retain that ability to see beyond, and that's what Rosh Chodesh is, and they're able to enjoy it more, while men still are struggling with it. He says, "Ubavare came b'chol dor v'dor," and soon this every generation. Amiskarv likva Mashiach. It's getting closer and closer to the Mashiach. Niskal kedushas Rosh Chodesh yoser. So the holiness of Rosh Chodesh is being revealed a little bit more and more and more. It's getting a little bit more to appeal to people. Just like you find by Shabbos, as you get closer to Shabbos, you begin to feel the Shabbos more as well. Right now, you're not feeling the Shabbos. It's harder to feel the Shabbos. But wait till Wednesday, begin to feel it more. Thursday, Friday, Mamish feeling it. So that's the same thing he's saying over here. And therefore, the whole idea with David HaMelech is bringing us, to this feeling of what Rosh Chodesh is, because that's really what David HaMelech is bringing us. We have to have the Malchus-based David in place. That's a critical link towards Mashiach. Without Malchus-based David, you don't have Mashiach. Without Mashiach, you're really not going to appreciate Rosh Chodesh. So since David HaMelech is a positive connection to that link, therefore, even though he does not yet have evidence of Rosh Chodesh, but he knows there's got to be something special about Rosh Chodesh, he senses it, and therefore the Torah records that he, and Shul to a certain extent too, because he started the Malchus, although it's not the permanent Malchus, but they understood that this is something that you have to celebrate. And it's kind of, David shows his great bitachon and emunah in Hashem, to have faith in something that's not yet there. So this is the uniqueness of Rosh Chodesh. It's the futuristic holiday that we celebrate before the holiday comes. And it takes someone to be on a much higher level to celebrate something that has not yet ever been evidenced. And that idea, the whole idea of being able to have renewed shira, of rejoicing with ever more knowledge of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in your life, which really you can access that every Rosh Chodesh, but only special people can. And David HaMelech was that kind of special person. So that's a little bit of insight into Rosh Chodesh.
So was Shul, because Shul is one who had the Rosh Chodesh.
A little bit, but really David HaMelech is, it started in general, starts with Shul HaMelech, but David HaMelech really is going to be the symbol of it, because we always mention Kiddush Levana, David HaMelech Yisrael Chai V'Kayam. He has this eternal, it never ends. And again, his ability to sing Shira, all these things are all people who have come to a deeper understanding of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And you come to a deeper understanding of HaKadosh Baruch Hu with an overall understanding of Teshuvah, of coming back to Hashem, even not necessarily because you sinned, but getting closer to Hashem. And this is what David's all about. David is able to do more. Shul is from Yosef, is beyond. He's the tzaddik. The tzaddik stays the tzaddik. Doesn't become a bigger tzaddik. He's a tzaddik. Finished. David is, David takes one step forward, because he wants to get more excited with Hashem, and then he can take 2 steps backwards and make mistakes, because he's always looking for more. And if you're looking for renewal, there can be mistakes in renewal. You're not an angel. So that he makes mistakes. David takes the high road and let's move ahead in our avodas Hashem. And when you're like that, when you're constantly coming closer always has failures. And you take a step forward, you take 2 steps backward. The mistake with Bathsheba, the different mistakes, we're not mistakes. These are mistakes that Shul would never make, because Shul never really had that in him to be more. Right? Shul was challenged to be more here. He refused to be more. He wanted to be exactly the way he was, and therefore he failed and couldn't be the king anymore. David always had that feeling he wants to be more. He wants to be more, wants to get closer to Hashem. So, and that's the person who can recognize what Rosh Chodesh is all about, and it's more associated with him. So anyway, so he wants to know what his future is with Shul, so the best time to see this Rosh Chodesh, and again, for reasons we said in the last class, which are also very appropriate as well. Okay, so this is what he said to him. Now David speaks fairly strongly now. He's not done. He said, this will be the symbol. Pasuk Ches, V'yasisa chesed al avdecha, and you will do a kindness to your servant. In other words, Jonas, I'm asking you to do me a kindness. Ki b'brisa Hashem eveisa es avdecha, because we've already brought your servant into a covenant. In other words, I want you to tell me what the result is going to be. And it could be very well that Shul's upset with me. And if there's any sin amongst me, better you should kill me. Why do I have to be brought to your father? In other words, he's saying, listen, we have a covenant, we're loyal to each other, and I'm expecting you to respond and tell me exactly what he's saying. Because if your father wants to kill me and you're not going to tell me, that's not going to be good. So, in other words, he's kind of saying, if your father wants to kill me and you're not going to tell me anything, then you might as well kill me yourself. So it's almost as if David is saying, he's hinting that you may not tell me. He's a little bit choshed, Yonasan. Could be maybe because Yonasan, I would say, Yonasan may misinterpret whatever Shul's, because remember, Yonasan loves his father, and his father is a tzaddik. You have to remember, his father was a huge tzaddik. Okay, now he's got this unusual problem, challenge. And Yonasan, I don't think could believe that his father could hate. Remember, he loves David. He sees all the virtues in David, and a lot of people see the virtues in David. He can't believe his father so obtuse not to see the virtues in David. And as we've said, Shul did have a certain love for Yonasan. So Yonasan is finding it very hard to accept that his father hates David so much. It's like denial to a certain extent. And David, which is more savvy, as it were, is saying, and I know you could be in denial, and you may not tell me. Even when your father will say something bad, you may kind of judge it favorably. You've been judging it. You may not tell me. I just want you to know, if you're not going to tell me, you might as well kill me. And that would really be breaking our oath. Our oath. We have an oath of friendship, and you gotta care about me as much as I would care about myself. So I don't. It's a suspicion, so to speak. Not because he got through the sons of Russia, but sometimes people just don't want to accept the bad news and interpret things the wrong way. And that's why David continues. So pasuk test. But Yomer Yonasan Chalilullah, God forbid. Kim Yadoi Daki Kol Saramim Avi. If I'm going to know clearly that the anger to my father is fully there, Lavalem, to come to you. Look, and I wouldn't tell you. Think I wouldn't tell you if I knew all this information? Why are you suspecting me like this? Pasuk Yud. So David says, "Vayomer David Yonasan mi yagidli o mayancha avicha kasha." So who's going to tell me if you're going to get a bad report from your father? How am I going to hear this message? Remember, they're somewhere far out in the fields right now, right? And so, like, how am I going to find out what's going on over here? So Yonasan says, Yudal, Vayomer Yonasan al David l'chav v'neitzeh hasara. Now he says, now let's go to the fields. So there must have been somewhere near the king's palace. He says, now let's go to the fields. And the Malma says, so nobody should overhear what they're going to do. Because everybody can hear what's going on. Right? So they both go to the field. Yud Beis. Yonasan al David. Yonasan now is able to speak freely to David. Hashem Elokei Yisrael. By Hashem, the God of Israel. Ki ech koras avi ka'es mochor hashlishis. David, if I will check out my father, inspect my father, like at this time, tomorrow, or even the next day, mochor shlishis. In other words, he's saying 3 days from today, Malbim says. Because on the first day I'm not going to check, I'm going to wait and see what my father says. I'm not going to ask anything until it's like 3 days from now. So today is Erev, so that's day one. Tomorrow is the first day. Day afterwards the next day. So by then, if my father says, I will find out. I will do everything I need to find what's going on over here. V'hinei tov el David. If it's good for David, if he's happy with you, I won't have to send any messengers to you. I can reveal it to you personally. I will come out into the field, and you'll know what's going on, and you'll find out. And if it's, God forbid, bad news, in other words, if it's good news, I got nothing to worry about. And more than that, I'm sorry. And I'm sorry. Malcolm explains, if it's good news, I can even send a shliach. I can send a messenger, because there's nothing to worry about. If I hear good news, I'll send a messenger and say, listen, you can come to the palace. Everything's fine. But then he's saying, it's using a wording of oath. It's a very long, drawn-out way of saying this all. Kol yasa Hashem liyonasan v'chol Yosef. Ki yetiv elavi esara alecha v'galisa aznecha v'shilachta v'lach l'shalom. And he's saying, so Hashem should do to me. In other words, he's swearing on the other side that I will try to bring out from my father if there's any bad intentions over here, and I'll see if I'm saying bad things about him and he's happy with this. Ki yeti velavi, and my father, in other words, I will say bad things about you to bring it out if need be. And if I see that my father is happy with these bad things, that means he has planning to do bad things with you. And then I will not send a messenger, because that will be very dangerous. But I will reveal to you personally. And I will send you away to leave, and you will go in peace. And Hashem should be with you like Hashem is with my father. In other words, just like Hashem was with my father to make him the king, I will send you away that you should be also safe and one day to be the king. So that's v'lo imadani chai v'lo asaseh imani chesed Hashem v'lo amus. And now he's making a covenant on the other side. That if Hashem will be with you, and if I'm still alive, then you should do kindness with me when you're going to be the king. If I'm alive, you should do a kindness with me that I should not die, and you should take care of me the way it should be. And you should never cut off your kindness with my family forever. And not when Hashem destroys all the enemies of David from the face of the earth. Meaning to say, it's a covenant forever. If I'm alive, you should take care of me, and if I'm not alive, you should take care of my children, whatever. You should always, it's a covenant at all times. So Tazayin Vayichros Yonasan and Beis David Ubikesh Hashem Miyad Oivei David, and Yonasan made a covenant with the house of David from all the enemies of David. In other words, and it's also a difficult pasuk, because what is the word Bikesh Hashem doing in the middle of this pasuk? And that's kind of like brackets, parentheses. In other words, he's invoking Hashem. At the time of the covenant, he's asking Hashem, he's asking from Hashem that he should help him with this, and just like David has to do his part, so Yonasan will show his loyalty as well, and he says and he should take care of all those people, my wife, my children, etc., etc., and save them from all the enemies of David as well, because that's the covenant he wants from all the enemies, and that's the covenant that they make. Yitzayin by Yosef Yonasan Mashpias David Rabbaso. So, and he further continued with this oath to make an oath of love with him, Kiavas Nasha Avo, because of great love he made with him. Now you'll see later on in Navi, way later on, these words of Bikesh Hashem, there's another hint of this. Hashem will demand David's compliance with this, and we'll see later on David does slip up with Mephibosheth, who's a descendant of Yonasan, and he doesn't treat him as well, and that's a big problem for David, which we don't have time to get into now. But later on down the line, David is makabel, accepts certain lashon hara of a descendant of Yonasan, and therefore mistreats that descendant. And the Navi and the Chazal say because of that, David's kingdom got split 2 generations later. So you see, this was an oath that he had to take very seriously, and it's not for now. It's Shmuel based, but this is an oath that does come back later on to haunt David. Okay, so now Yonasan says, okay, now we got to get to the brass tacks. Yudches, Vayomer leYonasan. So Yonasan says, and this is where we begin the famous Haftarah. The famous Haftarah every Erev Rosh Chodesh. If Shabbos comes on Erev Rosh Chodesh, we say the Haftarah is called Machar Chodesh, because that's where it starts. Vayomer leYonasan, Machar Chodesh. Tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh. Vivkarati ki ipoked Moshevecha. And, it'll probably be determined, the king's going to notice that if you're not there, he's not going to see you there. So therefore, you've got to take steps to protect yourself, that nothing's going to happen to you over here. So what do we do? Pasuk Yud Tes. There's a lot of interpretations of what's going on over here. V'shilashta tered ma'od, basal hamakom asher nistarta sham b'yom ha'maaseh, v'yashavta eitzel ha'even ha'ozel. So v'shilashta, some of you with 3. So some say, it means just wait 3 days. Let's go through the different Meforshim over here. There's a number of Meforshim over here. Because it will be a 3-day process. From Erev Rosh Chodesh till the end of all this time, it will be a 3-day process. So one says, just hide yourself for 3 days. And that's what the words mean. Vishilashta and tered. Here they use tered, like to descend, meaning to hide yourself. Hide yourself very much in these 3 days. The Metzudas, it just explains more that you have to hide as much as you're hiding and to the place of Biyom HaMaaseh, the day of action. Also the question, what does Biyom HaMaaseh mean? The action of the oath that they made. You should hide in a deep place where you've hidden before in a deep place. And the Malbim says every day you should hide deeper. Divide this into 3 parts, and every day hide more and more, because as more time passes, you're in greater danger. And therefore hide more. And I want you to hide where? At the Even Ha'azal. The Even Ha'azal is like a sign, like a road sign. It's a rock. They put a rock, and there put signs this way to this city, that way to this city. So hide near the Even Ha'azal, and that's a place where I'll be able to find you very easily, because we've already decided that's where you're at. And this will give us direction as to where your life should be going. Other expressions of Biyom HaMaaseh, Radak brings from the Targum, Biyom HaDecholah, like a regular mundane weekday, a day when you do work. Because right now, it's coming up to Rosh Chodesh, and it appears that the minhag, Radak even says, minhag was not to work. Holy people did not work on Rosh Chodesh, as we see women today. In other words, in those days, they didn't work on Rosh Chodesh. Nowadays, only women, to a certain extent, don't work on Rosh Chodesh. We could say because maybe it's the korban that was brought. was a korban that was brought. It was a shlomim, and you went to the Shiloh, wherever you went to, not Shiloh, wherever the Aron was. It's Beis Hamikdash. So it appears that, it was. So then we'll come back to the day of Maisa. The day of Maisa. Today's the day of Maisa. Today's the day of action. And I'll come back to you, where you've been for this day of action. But when it's days of Yom Tov, I'm not going to come back to you. So that's what he's got to do. And Pasuk Chav. Well, okay, and he's going to say what the signs are. We'll continue